What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Division 2 build video. Are you looking for a build to tackle heroic and even legendary content such as missions, control points, the summit? Well, you've come to the right place. I've got just the build for you. So let's get into it, shall we? Alright guys, so let's get into the build, shall we? Now to put this build together, you are going to need the two new exotics that have just recently been introduced. One is the new assault rifle, the Capacitor, which you get in the summit by doing special objectives, and the second exotic is the holster, the waveform, which you get once you reach level 95 in the seasons. So very easy to obtain both items. Just takes a couple of hours of grinding, and you'll be on your way. Let's start off with a specialization from the top. You are going to want to use the technician, of course. This is a skill build after all. The technician gives you an additional 10% skill damage. You're going to notice that is the pattern in this build. We're going to want to spec skill damage into all 6 pieces. Of course, everything core attribute wise will be +1 skill tier. You're probably noticing on the backpack that we do have a core attribute, but I'll tell you how we are still accomplishing a 6 skill tier build. Okay, so let's look into the capacitor a little bit closer. It's actually a very powerful weapon, very fun to use, and it goes well with this build. It also delivers quite a punch, so you're not feeling that you're dishing out marshmallow bullets like in previous scale builds. So if we look at the mods that it comes with, of course, being exotic, you cannot change the mods. We're actually very lucky because the mods on this weapon are actually quite helpful. So on the site, we get plus 10% skill critical hit chance. Sorry, on the muzzle, we get an additional 30% critical hit damage. On the grip, we are given plus 10% weapon handling, and on the magazine, we gain an additional 11 rounds. So all in all, a very good solid weapon. But what really makes this weapon really special is, of course, the talent capacitance, which reads as follows. Shooting enemies builds stacks to a cap of 40. Each stack grants 1.5% skill damage. After 5 seconds, stacks decay 1 per second. Essentially, guys, what it's saying is once you reach the cap of 40, you are essentially gaining an additional 60% skill damage, so very strong. But it doesn't end there. If you look just below, it says for each skill tier, you gain 7.5% weapon damage. So not only are you gaining skill damage, but you're also gaining weapon damage, which makes this weapon really strong and fun to use. Next, we move on to my secondary. I am using the Surge for the Perfect Talent Spike. Headshots grant plus 25% skill damage for 15 seconds. This is situational, of course, but you land a single headshot, and you gain that 25% skill damage buff for 15 seconds, which is very useful. And for my sidearm, I am using the card custom, and this is the reason why I am able to use a red core attribute on one of my gear pieces and still have a 6 skill tier build, because the TDI card custom pistol grants you an additional +1 skill tier as a bonus. So not too bad on there. Let's get into the individual gear pieces and the breakdown. So I decided to go with 2 pieces of Empress International. 2 pieces gives you skill health and skill damage. So on the mask, we went with a piece of Empress, and on the chest, you want the name version, which is the Caesar's Guard. Comes with the perfect talent, perfectly skilled. Skill kills have a 30% chance to reset skill cooldowns. Very important in a skill build because you want your skills to come back as quickly as possible. And take it from me, you'll be surprised how often this procs, even though It seems that it's very low, just a 30% chance, but it actually procs more often than than you like to think. So very, very powerful talent for this build. You're moving on to the backpack. I went with one piece Hana U, but more importantly, the named version of Hana, which is the fourth multiplier, which comes with the perfect talent combined arms. Shooting an enemy increases total skill damage for 30 seconds. Sorry, let's start again. Shooting an enemy increases total skill damage by 30% for 3 seconds. This has no cooldown, by the way, guys. So as long as you're constantly shooting your enemy, you gain an additional 30% skill damage. Again, synergizes very, very well with this build, with the capacitor, etc., etc. Moving on, you want one piece of Wyvern Wear because, again, one piece gives you plus 10% skill damage. And then on for the gloves, I went with China Light because one piece gives you plus 15% explosive damage, and that is for my Seeker Mines. So, as you know, any skill that delivers an explosive damage, there you get the 15% buff from one piece China Light. Now, as far as how you want, oh, and lastly, the second must-have for this build is, of course, the exotic holster, the waveform. Let's look at the talent, alternating current. Generate a stack of 3% skill damage on one of your skills every second, capping at 10 stacks. After 10 seconds at the cap, the stacks transfer to your other skill. The process then repeats ad infinitum. So essentially what this is saying is every 10 seconds you are basically gaining an additional 30% skill damage, and it just keeps fluctuating between one another. This has to be one of, if not the best holster right now, as far as talent goes for any skill build, as far as I'm concerned. Very, very strong. Now, let's see how about the attributes. So again, like I mentioned earlier, you want skill damage on on all 6 pieces, minus of course the backpack. And then after that, you want skill haste. Again, like I mentioned earlier, you want your skills to come back as quickly as possible. On the chest, as you can see, skill damage and skill haste. On the holster, skill damage and skill haste. On the knee pads, skill damage, skill haste. On the gloves, skill damage, skill haste. And on the backpack, I have skill damage, repair skills, which I would like for that to be skill haste. And the mod that I inserted is also skill haste. So let's look at at the skills. This is the fun part. As we look at the Seeker Mines, we have base damage. This is just base damage of 2.6 million. The cooldown is 23 seconds, but of course, when perfectly combined, sorry, when perfectly skilled procs, you get your Seeker Mines back automatically. Um, On the my second skill, I fluctuate between the sniper and the assault. I like to use a little bit more the sniper turret. It does, in my opinion, a little bit more damage. Raw damage for the turret is 1.7 million. But what I want to show you is actually real numbers when the buffs are active. So let's go down to the shooting range, shall we? There you have it, guys. As you saw in the clip, when the buffs are active at any given time, you're dishing out over 5 million plus damage per skill, which is insane amount of damage. When you have both of them active and both of them being utilized at the same time, you're just you're melting yellow bars like no tomorrow, which makes for a very fun build to use and play with. So yeah, so give it a shot. Let me know in the comment section below if you have a similar build, improvements. I'd love to hear your comments. And like always, guys, I will catch you on the next one. Peace out.